Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today we've got bow number 5 for the Archery Talk hunting bow shootout. It is from Elite Archery. Now Elite kind of gave me carte blanche as which bow I'd like to test this year, and when I was looking at their list, I decided to go in a slightly different direction and not go straight with their flagship bow offering. I asked them instead to send over their, I don't want to call it a budget bow, but their Hunter 33. So let's take it out of the package and we'll talk about the details. So first let's look at specs, and the Hunter 33 has an axle length of 32 3/4 inches, a brace height of 6 1/8 inches, and an IBO rated speed of 336 feet per second and a weight of 4.6 pounds. So again, why I chose the Hunter was because it was several $100s less than kind of all the other Elite offerings and really any other bow I'm going to be testing this year. Ideally, I like to kind of test one bow that's maybe a little less expensive than some of the others. Last year I did that with a Bear, and this year I've chosen the Elite Hunter 33. So this bow, again, I don't want to call it a budget bow because it still carries a sticker price of $1,000 American. That's, you know, $1,000 is not a budget bow by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still $300 less than your $400 less even than some of the kind of flagship level Elite hunting bows for 2025. The main thing that separates this bow from the flagship level Elite hunting bows is the lack of set technology. And if you're not aware, set is Elite's tuning system. It's really a fantastic system that allows you to tune arrow flight and get kind of your arrows flying exactly how you need them to without ever needing a bow press. It's a great system. This does not have that, thus the lower sticker price. It's also got a different cam system. This is a tri-track cam, which I guess looks slightly different than the S2 cam on the flagship level bows. It still has that 1/4 inch draw length adjustability, mostly infinite as far as let off concerns go. It's got the integrate arrow rest spot and also is adaptable to the Hamsky arrow rest. It does not have a Picatinny sight rail. The limbs are still a wide limb pocket here. I think that's largely the same. I think it's really just the lack of the set technology is the main difference maker between this and the other bows in Elite's lineup. For now though, it's time for me to get this bow set up. I'm going to shoot it, I'm going to tune it a little bit, and we'll come back with my results in just a little minute. All right, and just like that, the bow is set up and ready to shoot, which I've been doing for the last, hour or so at the shop here. And the setup for this one was maybe a bit more complicated than it should have been, although I do think a lot of that is on me. I just set it up simply with a Rocky Mountain 5-pin sight and a Q80 HDX arrow rest, both of which were no real problem, except I had a short cable in this Q80 arrow rest, and I had to snake a new one in there. And if you've never done that, it is a trying experience, and I don't recommend it, but that's on me for cutting it too short when I had it on another bow. Anyway, that's a foolish error on my part. The positives with the setup is that getting the bow timed, so it's hitting on the draw stops at the same time, snap, right out of the box. Much like I did with the Expedition last time, I didn't have to add any twists to any of the cables or anything like that. Love that. That's a home run for me. On the downside is that in the B position, the number 2 position on these cams is supposed to be 30 inches of draw length. And for me, that was coming up at just a hair more than 30.5. So I moved to the number 3 position, which should be 29.5. And now it's coming in at 30 or maybe 30 and a 16th, but we'll call it 30 inches. So that's, notable for, at least for my experience. Your mileage may vary. And I don't necessarily love how the mods work on this. They are rotating mods. You get the full 23.5 to 30.5 inch draw length range without needing a press, which is great. There's not like they don't click into each spot individually when you're trying to, try to find that perfect spot in here. So it does take a little finagling to get them settled in where you want them to be. Again, that's a small nitpick for me. And they're not the only manufacturer that has that going on. It's just not a favorite of mine. I do like the adjustable let off on here. So looks to me there's kind of 4 spots you can choose for let off here. So it came in factory set at the 90% let off area. I moved that up to 85 because that's much more comfortable to shoot. And beyond that, that was about the only holdback for me on the on getting this set up. It shot pretty well for me. You know, I may be a touch inside of 13 1/16 on the, as far as my width from the arrow rest to the riser. Might be just a hair shorter than that by about a 1/16, but I don't think that's a huge cause for concern. And again, there is no set technology. Normally, if I have set technology, I'll put that at 13 1/16 and then make my changes with the set technology that Elite normally runs. That's not the case, not available on this bow. So you have to kind of play with the arrow rest to get your arrow in the position that you want. Now let's talk shooting this bow. And I put together a video just a few minutes ago with me running this thing through its paces. And let's cut to that right now. We'll talk about draw cycle. So as I mentioned, it is time to talk draw cycle. And I've got to say the early impressions of the Hunter 33 are very strong in that department. This is a really nice draw cycle from Elite. You know, especially with a 336 IBO and the fact that this is not one of their flagship level bows, the draw, very smooth overall. No noticeable hump into the valley. Letdown's pretty easy. I've got this in 85% let off too. So usually when you're in a higher let off like that, the letdown can be a little tricky. But in this case, it's not at all. And the draw, again, does not feel like 70 pounds. This feels like a light bow to me. And holds on target really well, not super vibey or noisy after the shot. It's I'm pretty impressed in the early going. Now I haven't run this through the chronograph yet, but I will say I am dubious of that 336 rated speed in there. If I had to guess, just based on that draw cycle, I would guess we're looking at more like at 320. But it's so smooth and forgiving. And I've got this, there's still an inch left of draw length room, as I mentioned in the video above there right now. So, you know, you can get, you know, probably another 10 feet a second of speed with this if you maxed out on the draw length. But yeah, I'm looking forward to running this through the chronograph, and we'll go try that right now. So I mentioned in that draw cycle video that I was a little suspect of the speed, and I had made a prediction of 320 feet per second, and I may have given Elite a bad break on there, because when I put this through the chronograph, the numbers were a little better than expected. With my 350 grain arrow and this bow set to 30 inches and 70 pounds, I saw speeds of 325 feet per second every time I shot it. Again, that's 5 feet per second faster than I expected. It's still 11 down from the rated speed, but again, keep in mind I'm technically in the 29.5 inch draw length spot on here. I'm at 85% let off, so you could, you know, if you're in that number 2 position, this is probably going to be closer to 330. And with a heavier 455 grain arrow, I saw speeds of 289 and 290 feet per second. Plenty fast, and a little faster than I was expecting, given how nice the draw cycle was on this bow. I thought this was going to be far more light of its advertised speed, just because the draw was really nice on this. And so overall, again, I'm really happy with what Elite's done with the Hunter 33. For, again, I'm not going to call it a budget bow because it's $1,000, but for a bow that's hundreds of dollars less than some of their flagship offerings, it's really ticking a lot of boxes for me. I am missing that set technology because I think that is super valuable. But if you don't have that kind of budget, this is a bow definitely worth considering. Archery Talk, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot. And stay tuned for more bow setup videos before we get to the reviews and the full shootout with all of the hunting bows I'm getting in this year. Thanks so much.